Hey Jerry, how do you like your eggs? Scrambled? I got you, buddy. Now I'm gonna add some... Oh, crap. Jerry, I told you to remind me when it's time. Jerry, get the TV. Well, hey fellas, my name is Kizit, and... Oh boy, I've wanted to talk about this show for a while now. Community is a show that a lot of people have done videos on before. They've kind of done a breakdown of how the show turned out and the whole Chevy Chase situation and everything, but today I wanted to talk about the identity crisis this show goes through and how oddly satisfying it makes the ending. Community is a show created by Dan Harmon that aired from September 17, 2009 to June 2nd, 2015. The show follows a cast of characters who find each other when attending a community college in a not-so-great part of their lives. Our cast of characters includes Jeff.
Hey guys, thanks for eating all the macaroni.
Shut up, Leonard. Nobody even knows what you're talking about.
A lawyer who was fired from his job when his firm discovered he was unqualified. Britta, the hot chick Jeff wants to bang in the first season. Annie, the once ugly, now hot smart chick Jeff also wants to bang, but it's kind of awkward because she's younger than him. Pierce.
Abed the Arab. Is that inappropriate?
Sure.
The old racist guy played by Chevy Chase, who occasionally has some moments of wisdom and empathy, but then isn't wise or empathetic.
What if he said it's a good day for, and you said for being gay?
Abed, the lovable Muslim who provides funny meta commentary throughout the course of the show.
When you guys first came in, we were as wholesome and healthy as the family in the Brady Bunch. And now we're as dysfunctional and incestuous as the cast of the Brady Bunch.
Troy, Abed's best friend, played by Donald Glover, who was once a jock but then turns into a lovable goofball. And Shirley, the Christian woman who is sweet most of the time but then beats Jeff at foosball so bad he loses his manhood. Okay, so... Jerry, the eggs are burned! Oh god. Okay. We're good. I've explained to you the basic premise of the show, but before we jump into how it failed, I wanted to share with you why this show was loved and what made it special in the first place. Right off the bat, in the pilot, the show shows us how smart Dan Harmon's writing is. It isn't afraid to poke fun at cliches and go against the grain. I mean, as stated before, Abed's entire character is dedicated to meta commentary.
Let's go to Garrett with the check on the weather. It's still sunny.
It's evident within the first 3 seasons of the show that despite it telling crazy stories about a Chinese Spanish teacher overthrowing the school or a giant paintball war, it strives to tell genuine stories with genuine characters. Then season 4 hit. Due to some drama going on with Dan Harmon that I won't get into because there's already hundreds of videos about it, he was kicked off the project, and new showrunners were brought onto the project to replace him. Immediately, everyone could tell this wasn't the same show. Characters acted uncharacteristically, episodes didn't follow the same structure, jokes didn't land, it was all just a mess. It was clear the new showrunners didn't understand the identity of the show. It comes across like they didn't know if they wanted to follow cliches or be meta and break the fourth wall. The show was a shell of its former self. After a year of this, and ratings and fans making it very clear they didn't like the direction the show was going in, Dan Harmon was brought back onto the project for the 5th season. So, show saved, right? Creator is back, everything back to normal? Well, not really. The following seasons are far better than season 4, and a higher level of quality does return along with a familiar structure, but I think the damage season 4 caused had already been done. Before I continue, I just wanted to say that I'm not going to pretend that I was a writer on the show, or that I know as much about the show as Dan Harmon. I'm literally some guy on the internet. Nothing I say should be considered a fact. This is all just my observation with a little bit of background research. The show at this point feels like it doesn't know if it should dive deep into being meta and fourth wall breaking, or if it should embrace the cliches. I feel like this is happening because that novelty of meta-ness is becoming a cliche in of itself. The show knows this, but doesn't just want to abandon the reason people were drawn to the show in the first place. Again, that's not to say that there aren't any good episodes that have emotional or funny moments anymore, but it's clear the show's identity has been lost in this tangled web. This, coupled with more and more characters leaving the show during these final seasons, I think proved it was time for the show to end. And on June 2nd, 2015, Community aired its finale. When I got to this episode, I wasn't really excited for it. I made the assumption that this show's ending wouldn't be at all satisfying and would kind of mirror these last 2 seasons. But after watching it, I was pleasantly surprised. So surprised, in fact, this episode became honestly one of my favorites. This episode made me realize that this whole tangled web and loss of identity and questioning how meta is too meta actually in turn gave this show its identity back. There's this running joke with the character Abed that he sees each year at the school as a season, and the whole situation they're in is a show. Well, in this episode, Abed and Annie are leaving the school. The characters become aware that this is the last episode. Jeff is having trouble coping with that fact. The situation eventually leads to all our characters coming together and kind of thinking up about what a season 7 would be like. They accept change, Abed and Annie head out on their flight, and the show ends. I love this. I love this episode because it takes all those mistakes they've made in the past and uses it to tell one of the most honest, most genuine stories in the whole series. And that's what the show set out to do. It wanted to tell genuine stories. This episode did that while also comforting the viewer, making it an oddly very satisfying ending. The show started with these characters accepting each other for who they are and ended with the characters accepting what the show is, faults and all. I personally can't think of a better ending than that.
Time in a dream, give me the hope to run out of steam.